So this is 148 Alder Street, which is the home that Tom and Mary Gludenis still own. This is where Mary Gludenis grew up as Mary Kozlauskas. And as far as anyone in the Lithuanian community knows, this is the last 100% Lithuanian-owned and occupied three-family in the city. So as it stands right now, Mary's brother Joe lives on the first floor. That's their family unit. I have the apartment on the second floor, which I did a minor rehabilitation to. And then Zidra and Ina Petrosavicius, who are DP second waiver, or descendants of DP second waivers, live on the third floor. My intentions of renovating this space were multiple-fold. One, I deeply respect Mary's and in turn Tom's intention to retain this building. I find it commendable that after so many Lithuanians, whether through economic forces or their own better opportunities elsewhere, chose to leave their family homes here in Waterbury, Mary chose to stay and retain ownership of this building. So I deeply respect that and want to contribute towards that. I needed this second place, as I expressed to you earlier, for my own business purposes, and I wanted to renovate it to show as a reflection of what this neighborhood can be. One of the things I was very inspired by in Lithuania when I went there in 2017 is how the citizens of that country have dedicated so much resources to rebuilding it beyond its former glory. The modern architecture there touches upon the past in a way that's commendable. And it's something that we here in America, in my opinion, desperately need to see. And so when I became a selectman in 2017, part of my mindset was we need to make this look like the future, like it looks in Lithuania, and especially in towns like Palanga, where it's a tourist town and it's a beautiful place. And it's incredible that I've had the opportunity to do that here in Waterbury in the Lithuanian neighborhood. So let's take a look. So many of these buildings have a common entrance, like this one does. Other times the first floor unit will be separated from the second floor unit and third floor units because the owners will live on the first floor and the tenants will live on the second and third floor.
This is a Lithuanian cross on the
Yes.
door.
So this is generally how you'll find any three-family in the Brooklyn or Town Plot neighborhood in similar condition, old but in generally well-maintained shape. We did some minor things in here, just putting some new carpet down and that sort of thing to make the environment a little more pleasant. But the inside of this apartment is really the hallmark. And if you could just please take off your shoes.
Okay. Lithuanian style.
Yes,
In America,
and I was raised that way here in America. And it was always my mother's insistence, and she's the Lithuanian, so.
I see.
So this layout is typical of the three families in this neighborhood. This apartment is 1,300 square feet. 1,000 square feet, it makes up the hardwood floor in this unit. And the remainder is the bathroom and kitchen space. So the layout of this apartment is, this is the sunroom, which is your landing place, your entry area. This is your living room, and then this is your dining room. So I'm in the final stages of renovation here, so I'm bringing in furniture, looking to bring a dining room table in here. I have this mirror, which will go up on that wall. And there's a couple of other things that you'll see that aren't finished yet, but are very close. This unit, because it's a second floor unit, has very low heating expenses. So the first floor generally pays for the heat of the entire building. And what's incredible is this house, the 3 floors, are similar square footage to my house in Canaan. And the Gludenis had showed me their heating bills for their other 3-family, and I couldn't believe it. It's like $100, $150 a month to heat their building, whereas for me to heat my house in Canaan, which has similar square footage to all 3 floors, but a different layout. It's close to $1,000 a month for heating in the wintertime, which is incredible. So it's nice to be able to come here and live in such a high quality space after the renovation and live cheaply.
And so how many Lithuanians used to live here? Like what was the family size, if you have researched that before you invested?
Yes, so as an example, my immigrant family, so my second great-grandparents who came from Lithuania, they had 6 children. So there would be 8 people in one unit like this. Back in the 1920s when this was built in 1925, there could have been easily 10 to 12 people living in this one floor. So this building could have had an occupancy of up to 36 people, which is incredible.
So at the time in Waterbury in Brooklyn here, Lithuanian district, it was common to live in apartments rather than owned buildings, or were both variants possible?
Both variants were possible. So when you first moved to Brooklyn, you generally live in that lower section downhill of John Street, and you would rent. As you increased your wealth, you would move into a unit like this. But at that time, the floors were not redone like they are now, and the building would be a little rougher, and there would be many people living in the same unit. But eventually, a family would earn enough to buy a house or their own 3-family like this and rent it out to other Lithuanians or people of other ethnicities. So Mary and Tom Gludenis made the choice to retain this building, and over the years, even to recent times, they would only rent it to family through their own choice. Eventually they needed to rent it to other people. And so for the longest time, they didn't advertise the 3rd floor unit. This unit was occupied. And there was Zedra and Ina Petrusavicius who needed a unit. So they rented to them, very much word of mouth. And this unit, as I said, needed some work. And so they just decided not to rent it until they would have enough means to make the work happen. But I really needed the space for my business, and I really wanted to make it happen. So I made the investment, and I'm grateful that I did. It's amazing because through my work this summer, I will easily pay for all the renovation works that was done in here. And it was, like I said, minimal to get to this result. So it's motivating because for someone who wants to come into this neighborhood and contribute to a Lithuanian community, it's a very inexpensive thing to do, all things considered.
Indeed, it's very nice that these buildings are not falling, let's say, decrepit as many buildings in the area, and you help to restore and renovate.
Absolutely, and it's something whereas here in Waterbury, since it's such small scale and we're so close to other prosperous areas, it's wise to make an investment here, whereas if you were to make a similar investment in the Lithuanian neighborhoods of Pennsylvania, you would have a harder time recuperating your investment because there just isn't the economic opportunities.
Yeah, although right now, when we visited last time, we see that there are many people moving in for warehouses, for online retail for New York City. They are building warehouses there. So who knows? Maybe
they'll turn around just like we are.
Yeah. So can we then check the other parts?
Yeah, that would be great. And hopefully this can inspire them. So this is my bedroom. Just set this up 2 weeks ago. So this is a generously sized room for a bedroom. This is a 12 by 12 bedroom, 12 feet by 12 feet. But you could see this door here. So you have the door to the apartment, which we went through, but there's this additional door out to the entryway. So this is intended for, let's say there's a husband and a wife and 2 kids or 3 kids or 4 kids living in that other bedroom. And there's a brother or sister or an aunt or uncle or grandparents from Lithuania that wanted to come over. They would rent this unit to them as like a sublease, and they would have easy access to leave the apartment and get to work. So from this apartment, it's not even a mile walk to where the brass factories and foundries were. So every day the whistle would blow, and all the Lithuanians and people of other ethnicities would come out of their apartment and walk downhill. The shifts were about 12 hours a day, so 7 to 7 shifts. And then at the end of the day, they'd come up the hill and come home. And I could only imagine what that sight would have been like to see hundreds of people on the streets walking around, whereas today, as we saw, there's only a few cars that drive by during the day. And it's just incredible to now look back on that history to see how far not only the United States, but the living standards of Lithuanian people have grown and contribute towards that.
Yeah, indeed. Right now, of course, usually Lithuanian Americans live in huge houses,
right?
And the family is only 2 people or 3 people, and yet they have a huge house.
And that's a similar case to me. Like I said, my house in Canaan is 3,800 square feet. This building is 3,800 square feet. But all I need in this area is not even an apartment this size. But with the rental prices, how low they are here, and the opportunity to renovate, it was an opportunity I couldn't pass up. So I can't believe at 28 I have 2 places to live, but that's the way it is in this economy. And happy to be able to contribute into a building that reflects not only my interest but my heritage, as opposed to just rent anywhere.
Indeed, very nice. And so, did these units have a single bathroom and restroom, or do they have several? Or did at the start, in fact, they still use outhouses? Like, how did it?
So, by the time that this building was built, and this is a John Stotkus design, modern plumbing and sewer systems were in place. So these units always had 1 bathroom. And that bathroom, which you'll see down the hall briefly, which is still has the materials for renovation in it, has just a bathtub, a sink, and a toilet. A very simple design. And we are looking forward to putting in a floor here, a new floor, vinyl stick tiles. But it's a very simple bathroom design. The kitchen is similar. And what's interesting was at that time, water heaters were new. So the water heater is in the kitchen as like a kitchen appliance, whereas today they're put into closets and forgotten about. So this apartment does have some design elements to it that are very much of the old way, but they're not something that would be an encumbrance to modern living. Those older buildings on John Street and downhill were built in a way where they did not have a bathroom originally. They had outhouses, and they did not have any modern heating systems. So the heat was supplied by coal as opposed to gas as it is here. And that was a very inefficient and dirty way to heat a home. So that's why those houses are still kind of a lower standard of living, but these houses can be easily renovated and upkept to a more modern standard of living.
Yeah, and at what date was this building constructed?
1925.
1925, yeah.
So most of the 3 families that you see on Alder Street were built in the 1920s and 1930s.
So basically that was the time when most Lithuanians had already arrived, as during World War I or around that era, United States have curbed immigration. And so at the time they had already arrived, but they were kind of getting richer and were able to afford better housing, yes?
Exactly. And then during and after World War II, there was the DPs and the second waivers that fled Lithuania during that time. And they moved into that lower quality of housing initially, and then moved up the hill into these houses. Mm-hmm. As the other Lithuanians built their own single-family homes in suburbia.
So can we see then the remaining?
Yes, absolutely. We have this cardboard down because we just installed the new hot water heater. So this is what would have been the main bedroom, but I'm using it as a den/secondary living space or bedroom here. I have a couple of air mattresses there, so when we have the ananas and that sort of thing, if anybody wants to stay, they can. And you guys, if you're coming this way to Waterbury, are more than welcome to stay in this unit if it's convenient for you.
Thank you very much.
And if you have any contacts from Lithuania that are of good repute, happy to work with them. And if they need a brief place to stay in the United States, this is an option. So what makes this room unique at the moment is the upstairs neighbors are collectors, like most Lithuanians are, of very interesting old eclectic things. And Zidra's father was a collector of Lithuanian books. So these books that I have here are all Lithuanian books. And the cover art I just find so compelling. This is my favorite one. And I won't risk pronouncing this Lithuanian words, but I translated it, and it's "the river is narrow, the river is wide." Correct?
It's actually, the river goes eastwards and the river
really?
goes northwards.
Wow, okay, very nice, very nice. Well, kind of like where I came from down to here, you know? And I find it compelling because the Lithuanians have sort of this angular art that is beautiful, and you can see that here. And I love their font choices. Again, very angular. And also it reminds me of where we are in Waterbury, which is the intersection of Route 8, north and south, which goes along the Naugatuck River, and 84, which is the route of the Mad River through Waterbury. So, and if you take I-84 from Waterbury, you will go right to the Scranton, and then go south on 87. You'll end up in the Lithuanian section of Pennsylvania near Mahanoy City, where we were last year for Lithuania Days.
We'll be coming there. We'll be going there this year as well, actually. So.
That's nice. And by the way, I have to commend you for coming here in 2017, because if you didn't come here in 2017, I wouldn't have known that any of this still existed, because many of the people who are of Lithuanian descent never come to Waterbury. And it was my assumption that this church, St. Joseph's Church, had closed, and the Lithuanian heritage here in Waterbury was dead. And I was ecstatic to find out it was still here. So I commend you for coming here, not just then, but now, and also for you interviewing Linus Balsys, who's the president of our Knights of Lithuania Chapter 7, who's done an amazing amount for this community.
So you read about these places on global.lithuania.com website?
Yes, and I saw the Lithuanian interview that you did with Linus at that time. And although it was hard for me to understand, I appreciated that, there is something there, but I'm going to have to discover this for myself because I don't understand what he's saying. And boy, did I discover it for myself. It's just been unbelievable. So I thank you for getting the information on the airwaves so that I could see it up in Canaan.
I am very glad to hear that global.lithuania.com Encyclopedia of Lithuanian American Heritage is helping people to rediscover their roots and these impressive sites. And I invite everybody to check these stories, because there are lots of such incredible stories are all around the United States of America, especially in the Midwest, in New England and the Mid-Atlantic regions, where there are most Lithuanians. And we have recorded many such interviews, so if you are interested in hearing them, I invite you to follow this YouTube channel and check map.lithuania.com, which is a map of Lithuanian American heritage sites. And you can click on every site, read the story, and see its images, just like Christian did. So thank you very much for this little tour around this historically Lithuanian-owned building, which is still Lithuanian-owned actually, an apartment, and have a great luck in revitalizing Waterbury and its Lithuanian district.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to working with you well into the future.